born from the weathered concrete jungles and busy city streets. She is. Hey beauties, welcome back. I'm super excited to bring you a tutorial on this urban architecture inspired queen featuring elements such as brick and shattered glass. And this is my submission video for the 2018 NYX Face Awards. And if you'd like to know how to get this look, just keep on watching. Now, first things first, we want to make sure our skin is cleansed, moisturized, and primed so that it's ready to accept all of this makeup goodness. Then I'm going in with my NYX eyeshadow base in white first, and I'm just going to apply a uniform layer using a fluffy brush to mute out my skin tone. And then I'm going to pat out any brush strokes with a sponge and set that with a colorless powder so that it is smooth and no creases are there. Next, I'm taking my NYX Colors eyeshadow in hot yellow, and using a fluffy tapered blending brush, I'm going to build up my transition area just under the brow bone, and I'm just going to build up that color until it's pigmented. Moving into my NYX Colors in hot orange, I'm actually going to warm up my crease area just under that yellow, using the same brush, but this time winging it out toward my outer V of my eye just to build up the blend near where my cut crease is going to go. And then taking my NYX Colors in hot red, I'm actually going to deepen that crease color just to make sure that I have some definition in that area, because once you go in to do a cut crease, you want to make sure there is a blend to a deepest color closest to that crease for a dramatic effect. Now, to accomplish that dramatic effect, I'm taking my NYX Colors in hot black, and using a pencil brush, I'm going to focus that in the crease of my eye, as well as wing it out toward my temple where I winged out the rest of the shades. And I'm just going to make sure I get the ultimate deep tone right in the crease of my eye, because I'm going to cut with concealer directly under that. And if you want, you can go in with a fluffy brush after and blend in with some black and some of that red to make sure everything is seamless. Moving on to the cut crease, we want to come back and make sure we use a precision flat brush and your favorite concealer. And you're just going to cut out that shape following the shape that you created with your eyeshadow, and you want to make sure it's smooth and looks sort of wave-like, almost like a bird's wing. And then I'm going to pack on a shimmery gold pigment over that. It's a warm gold tone, and it's just going to complete the fire inside look that I'm going for with my eyes. Next, I applied a nice winged liner to complete the look, and I did so using my NYX Epic Ink Liner that has a brush tip for easy application. And I actually didn't like the way my wing turned out on the first try, so I went ahead and covered that with some of that gold pigment that I used on the lid, and then reapplied that line to make it thinner and more precise. Then I finished off the other winged liner on the other eye and moved on to doing my face. Now for the face, I went ahead and started with a white cream paint and buffed that all over my face and halfway down my neck using a foundation brush. And I did this to make sure that my lovely melanin didn't show through the blue color that I used later, and to also maximize its pigmentation. And you also want to make sure you take that white cream paint into your hairline for a seamless transition from your hair into your face. And you want to set that generously with some powder. I did so using a powder puff to make sure that cream paint didn't budge and was set for good. Moving on to today's foundation shade, I used a water activated paint that was kind of a turquoise color and painted that generously over all of the areas where I had that white cream base. And water activated paints pretty much set themselves, but if you are concerned about sweat and potentially having it transfer, you can go ahead and set that in place with a high alcohol content setting spray. But for the most part, doing this step doesn't require any powder over it. I also took that turquoise color up to the hairline and across my ears just to make sure everything kind of blended together. But because I knew my wig was going to cover most of my ears, I didn't focus too much on covering those. I then went in with a deep seafoam water activated paint color to kind of buff in some contour. I first applied that with a brush and then went in with a beauty sponge to go ahead and blend that out as well. Now, just like with any glam look, you want to make sure you go in and highlight. So I took that same white cream paint on the foundation brush and did a little bit of highlight under my under eyes and across my forehead and down the bridge of my nose. And I also went under my cheekbones to go ahead and add more drama to that definition there. And then, of course, using my NYX Primal Colors in Hot Fuchsia, I went in and used this sort of like a blush and a bronzer because it has more of a warm tone. And I wanted to interrupt that monochromatic look of all of those blues and greens in my face. And I also took it down the sides of my nose, but I felt like I lost a bit of that nose highlight in doing so. So I went back with that white cream base to go ahead and add more highlight to the bridge of my nose and keep it defined. Okay, so of course, being the genius that I am, I forgot to hit record when I was doing the brick pattern on my face, but that's okay because I have to do it on my chest as well, so I'll show you later how I achieved that brick texture using this natural sea sponge and some water activated paint to give myself a lot of dimension and a very textured pattern. As far as the grout that goes in between the bricks, I'm taking that same turquoise water activated body paint and using a fine tipped brush, I'm just going to paint some horizontal lines following the natural contours of my face and then going in with some vertical lines interspaced or alternating with each row to give these bricks that characteristic rectangular shape. And by using a color for the grout that matches the color of the face, it makes it look like these bricks are sort of protruding from the skin. And then you end up with what looks like a brick contour, a bronzer if you will. Next, using some blue liquid eyeliner, I'm actually going to brush that through my eyebrow hairs, sort of like you would with a brow gel. And I'm just going to give that a natural brow shape, a little bit bushy, but still with some definition. Then going back in with that NYX Epic Ink Liner, I'm just going to give it more dimension by having not just one tone in my eyebrows, but giving a little bit of variety as far as interspacing the black and the blue. Now it's time to work on the body, so this shirt has gotta go. And then I'm gonna come in and start outlining my chest piece using my NYX Slide On, Glide On, Stay On pencil in pure white. And what I'm essentially outlining is an area where the brick wall is broken up, exposing the inside of the wall and also the energy source or heart of my urban architecture queen. Then following the same techniques used on the face, I'm actually going to apply that white cream paint again with that same foundation brush, and I'm going to set that generously with some colorless powder. And then I'm going to go in with that same turquoise body paint and apply that all over the white cream base. Using black water activated body paint, I'm actually going to fill in that broken exposed inner wall that you see around the heart on my chest. And I'm actually just going to put in an opaque black base so that I can paint over it. And then I'm going to go in with a detail brush and use varying colors such as red, green, yellow, blue, and gold to actually paint in some electrical wires because I want to have that exposed inside the wall to show that that is the inside of architecture. And I used a lot of different colors to keep it interesting instead of just using basic blacks, grays, and whites, and maybe hints of reds here and there because typically electrical wires aren't the colors of the rainbow, but I just wanted to make this, aesthetically pleasing and keep it mixed up. After painting in those electrical wires, I went in with a bit of a larger fine tip detail brush to paint in some plumbing because I wanted to have that exposed as well. So I took gray water activated body paint and painted some thicker plumbing cylindrical shapes, and I made sure that kind of went with the electrical wires as far as the orientation, keeping them perpendicular shapes and keeping some of the plumbing parallel to certain wires. For the burning heart in the centerpiece, I started with a red base over it. Again, I did set this with cream white at first. And then I went in with some red to give that fiery color and built up from the red into oranges, yellows, and eventually a white highlight. So this is kind of the opposite of what we did with the eye, where we started with our yellow and worked our way down to red and black. We're starting deep and then going in with some highlights now. And I also took a little bit of black on the opposite end of where I applied that white to make sure my light source looked like it was coming from what would be your right side on the screen. To add more dimension and stay consistent with my imaginary light source, I went in with the silver water activated body paint and added highlights to one side of the pipes that I put in that exposed area of my wall. And then I took a break from that to go back to the brick pattern on my chest. And here I'm showing you exactly how I did it on the base. I took that natural sea sponge and some purple water activated body paint, and I lightly tapped that around the exposed brick area and then tapped it up my neck to maintain continuity with the contour on my face. Next, taking some orange water activated paint on that same sponge, I'm using that as sort of a highlight and to add some warmth and break up the cool tones that I have there. And I wanted to tap that lightly over the purple, then went in with some black water activated paint to add shadows because brick has a lot of different tones in it if you look very closely. And then I followed up with that purple one more time because I wanted that to be the main color and the focus color of my brick. Going back in with that same turquoise water activated paint, again I'm using that as a grout between my bricks, so I'm doing those same horizontal lines but not keeping them flat, actually maintaining some contour on my chest and giving it sort of a curved shape to keep some movement of the eye, and then went in with those vertical interspaced or alternating lines to keep those brick shapes. To give the illusion that the brick is in front of the wall interior, I used black water activated paint and gave a sharp outline to the edges of that brick. Then I went in with my NYX Permacolors in hot black again to give some shadows both around that brick as well as on the pipes and around the center heart to make that look like it was more forward as well, and just anywhere where you felt more dimension is needed and to give things like the pipes more of a rounded shape. I also went in with my NYX Epic Ink Liner and gave more definition to any spaces that needed it, and I drew on some false joints, nuts, and bolts on the pipes as well, and I went in with my NYX White Liquid Eyeliner to give some highlights wherever I felt like more is necessary. For one final element of dimensionality, I'm taking an icy white highlighter and brushing that along the edge of the brick closest to where that black starts just to further highlight that contrast. And then I'm taking that along some random bricks up my neck and along the side of my face just so those can catch the light when I turn my head. And then like you would with a normal glam look, I'm actually applying that highlighter to the tops of my cheekbones. Moving on to my accent pieces, I'm dotting the crease of my eye on the inner corner with some lash glue, and then I'm going to go over that with some rhinestones to add some glitz and glam there. Then for my under eye, I'm taking some metallic paper pieces that I cut to look like glass shards, and I'm applying that with the same lash glue under the eye in random spaces just to look like shattered glass under my eye and to kind of give more of that architectural element to go with the brick. And I'm alternating between metallic gold and iridescent or holographic silver. I popped on some lashes off camera, then I'm going to go right into applying some glitter on the lash line and in between those broken glass shards. I'm using my NYX Multitasker Medium and glitters in crystal and bronze, and of course I'm just going to start with putting that Multitasker Mixing Medium down and then applying the glitter over it so that it is tacky enough to hold them in place. I'm lining my lips with the NYX lip liner in brown, and then before moving on to my lip color, I'm actually going to go back to my lower lash line and take that same Stay On Glide On eye pencil in pure white and line my waterline just to open up the eyes a bit more and make everything come together. For the lips, I custom mixed some red and brown liquid lipsticks to tie in those same tones that are on my eye in the crease area. And then to tie in that lid color, I took that same gold pigment and brushed it just under my cupid's bow and on the center of my bottom lip to give a bit of a highlight. Then I went ahead and slapped on my DIY wig and put on my crown and my vest that I made from just some tape and that same metallic paper that you see under my eye. And this is the completion of the look. So I really hope you all enjoyed, and I really hope that I'm afforded the opportunity to compete in this year's NYX Face Awards to really push myself and show my true artistic capabilities. If you all enjoyed the look, leave me a like and let me know down in the comments what you think and if you would like to see something else from me. Other than that, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!